My God, he's got the voice of an angel.
It's breathtaking.
Welcome everybody to What the Flick, Hangover 3. This one's going to be good because Alonso is here, I'm here, and apparently Jenk is back.
I'm blonde and I have boobies now. We have a difference of opinion here. We're going to have fun today with The Hangover Part 3, Roman numeral 3.
Right, Roman numeral 3.
It's very serious.
Not just Arabic.
Right. So this is the third installment in the Hangover trilogy. There probably didn't need to even be a second one because the first one was so wonderful and so novel and so fresh. But this time we go in a much more serious, much darker direction. Alan, the Zach Galifianakis character, has gone off of his meds and is spiraling out of control. And so the members of the Wolfpack, played by Bradley Cooper, Ed Helms, and Justin Bartha, forget his name because he's barely in these movies, right?
The disappearing Justin
Who
Bartha.
is the guy who's being held for collateral all the time, yes. So they step in and do an intervention and offer to drive him to a treatment center in Arizona. This will clearly not be an innocuous little jaunt through the desert. Take a look.
Your description of the movie was better than the movie.
Not true. Not true. Okay, so here's why I like this movie. And I'm shocked to hear myself saying this because I hated The Hangover Part 2. I thought it was the worst movie of that year. I was so angry that it was this lazy, arrogant, cynical, beat-for-beat rehash of Part 1. Go on. There's a train of thought here. So I love the fact that he dared to go in a totally different direction. Tonally, emotionally, structurally. This is a dark film and it goes into dangerous places, and there are genuine consequences here beyond just wackiness for the brash laughs.
What dangerous place does it go to? I don't...
Emotionally, I think it definitely does. In terms of really taking a look at Alan's mental illness. It's beyond just a source of laughs at this point. I mean, they take it seriously this time.
I think it's played for laughs.
I think it's.
No,
I think
here and there,
I
but
think they're
eventually-
just pointing at the goofy guy with the mental issues.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, there are moments that are more quiet and more intimate than we've seen in the previous films. I get the sense that he actually is trying to do something different, and that alone I appreciate. There's a daring here that we have not seen since the first one, and I just like that he dared to alienate the very audience that made these films so successful. And people are walking into this thinking it's going to be a comedy, because in theory it should be.
But it was an attempt.
But it's an action thriller.
It was an attempted comedy. It was.
It has comedy here and there, but it's an action thriller.
Well, it wasn't even remotely funny for a second.
I laughed.
No.
I laughed quite a bit. Yeah.
I laughed a time and a half, I think.
Yeah, there was an early scene. I don't care about giving one line away. That early in the movie, you can see it coming as soon as it develops. They kill a giraffe.
He's decapitated.
Yeah, he's decapitated on an interstate. Hilarious. But at least then Bradley Cooper said, when they're all like, oh my God, and Bradley Cooper says, he killed a giraffe, who gives a fuck? And then for a moment I thought, oh, maybe this is going to be a little subversive, but that was it.
See, now, I mean, the movie sort of, I think maybe flirts with the idea of the movie that you magically saw. That, where they're driving to Arizona and they get kidnapped, and you're finally thinking, oh, okay, finally these guys are going to have to pay for being like obnoxious, white guy schmucks who think they can sort of coast through the world and just wreak havoc and not ever pay any consequences. But no, we're back to the usual hijinks. And I've never been a fan of this series. I think that if you're for the first Hangover, I liked the premise of it and the idea of it, but I think if you're gonna do that kind of comedy, it has to be clockwork precise. Like if you're reconstructing the night before, it's gotta be this happened, da-da-da-da. And it was a sloppy movie. So it bugged me. The second one is, you're right, it's all over the place and lazy. This one's just flat out not funny. And it's not just me. I mean, Ben and I went last night at 10 p.m.
to
a commercial screening with regular folks. Full house of people who were dying to see The Hangover Part 3 on a Wednesday night. crickets.
I mean, crickets,
you could just
so
feel the
many-
soul of that room getting sucked out by this
It was
movie.
like the
How
40.
much
It was
did
like the
that affect you?
49ers locker room at the Super Bowl.
Alonso gets that.
Yeah, sure. But,
No, but how much did that affect your mood, though? I mean, they pack those big screenings and they pack, opening night things for the regular folks who are going to be all pumped. How much did it affect your mood in the opposite way to have it be dead in there?
No, it was dead. There's no
it was-
question.
no,
You could have. I could have seen it at the studio with people with fake laughter. There's no way I was
Yeah,
going
no, I was
to
not
be
gonna
moved
buy
by
it.
And nobody. I mean, there was anger after the movie. There were people. The guy behind us was like, "I can't believe I just spent $30 on that." And then the silence was really like.
people were trudging out of the theater.
That's what I was thinking. Is that they were trudging out of the theater. It felt like we all just awoke from a dream, and it turns out it's 1977, and we all work at a Soviet coal mining town in the Urals. Like it was just super depressing.
It was the
Yeah.
Bataan death march
Totally.
of Hollywood comedies.
No, you know what though? I think it's a matter of expectations then. It's a matter of expectations. Maybe mine were lower because I hated 2 so much, and to see something different was very exciting for me.
These are characters suddenly. These are like such cardboard cutouts that they plug into situations. Zach Galifianakis is the only one who's doing anything remotely interesting or funny, and I'm sure he's making half of it up. And it's such stock situations. All this is the same shit we've seen before. More Ken Jeong, who decided there needed to be more Ken Jeong,
And I'm with you
and
on
that we have
that.
to care about him as a human being.
No, I'm with you on that a little bit of Ken Jeong goes a long way, and ordinarily a little bit of the Zach Galifianakis character goes a long way, but I would say there is actual development to these people. There are other sides of them. There is shading in Mr. Chow, I would say. The whole sequence where it's not fun and wacky and debaucherous. It's like dark and scary in the penthouse suite at Caesars when they finally find him. I would say that is a darker look at him and a closer look at his sociopathic soul than just the wackiness of the smoking monkey and all that.
He jumps off Caesars in a parachute to get away.
Right.
Yelling, "I love cocaine!"
Yeah, and it's thinking actually that can fly. Yeah, they have to. That's the comedy
That was the-
part.
that-
No, I'm with you that a little of Ken Jeong goes a long way. I'm not a fan of his, but I think they definitely show like loneliness and neediness with him here, and
He's like
darkness
the
to
star
his
of the
soul
movie.
here.
I think he has the most lines.
No, look, I'm all for let's take a popular franchise and turn it on its ear. Let's
definitely.
defy expectations. Let's give the audience something they didn't know they wanted,
Right.
or maybe they don't want at all. This is not that.
This is that.
This is just shit.
No,
this is a
absolutely
terrible
that.
movie. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I think people are going to be pissed. I think if you go in thinking it's going to be a darker movie and being ready for that, maybe you'll enjoy it more. I think everyone walks into this thinking they're going to have part 3 of the wackiness.
It's not a good, darker
Yeah.
character
No, no, no.
study either. No, it's not
People
interesting.
die in this movie. People die. I'm not going to say
They-
who, but people
it's
die
not,
in this movie.
but there's none of it carries any weight.
No, it doesn't,
The only
yeah.
interesting thing is to figure out how fast they're going to make Justin Bartha disappear, because they do that in every
Yeah,
movie.
'cause who cares?
They shove him off to the sidelines as quickly as possible, and then just when are they going to wrap it up? And it becomes that kind of thing where you realize that there's a whole other city to go to. There's a whole other set of steps that have to be completed to accomplish the plot, and you're just thinking, oh God, is this ever going to be over?
I also, I mentioned the giraffe. The giraffe gets decapitated. They smother a rooster. With
a pillow.
With a pillow.
Yeah.
And they kill 2 dogs. Okay, I guess that's dark, but it's not like each time it's supposed to be funny. And
I don't think it is supposed to be funny. I think
you don't
it's
think when
meant
he's
to show
when
the
he's
depravity of
suffocating
these people.
when he's suffocating the
I don't
pillow,
think
it's not supposed to be funny.
No, I don't think it's meant to be funny at all.
Well, then they nailed it. Yeah,
I don't
well
think it's
done.
meant to be, I think a lot of this is not meant to be funny. There are laughs here and there. The Melissa McCarthy stuff is great. There are funny moments, funny individual lines, and a lot of weirdness with Zach Galifianakis. But I think a lot of it's meant to be serious.
But for a not funny movie, it's not interesting dramatically
Right, it's
either.
not interesting dramatically at all. And I don't, and the Melissa McCarthy stuff, I didn't think so much was funny but you recognize just in a moment when she's not even speaking, I was there with my girlfriend and Alonso, and I was like, Melissa McCarthy is super talented. She just sort of, there's an aggressive talent that's in every scene that she's in, even though her part is very small.
It's worth noting this is the first one that's not written by the guys who wrote the first 2. It's co-written by director Todd Phillips and the guy who wrote Identity Thief.
Identity Thief is horrible.
Which
I
we
would
all
agree
hate.
with you on that.
Identity Thief is much better than this.
No,
Much-
no, no, no,
If I had to
Identity
sit
Thief-
through another one again,
I would
be
see
Identity
I'd
Thief.
rather watch this.
I would see Identity Thief 3 times before I would watch this again.
We should do numbers then,
Yeah,
shouldn't we?
yeah.
We've
All right.
said all we can say about this. Okay.
I think you should start.
Yeah, Jank.
I gave it, what, a 6.7?
6.7.
6.7.
Holy shit,
I
that's
know.
unbelievable.
No. It's a 41% on Rotten Tomatoes. There are other critics besides me who like this movie. I'm okay with my position on this. I'm really comfortable with it.
I can't wait to see what the cinema score is. on
I
opening
can't, but
night.
if you hated Hangover 2, you're going to
hated
be
Hangover
disappointed
2.
in this.
No. This dares to be different, and that alone makes it better. Go ahead.
Alonso and I are essentially.
Go.
I'll
0.6.
See, that's just gratuitous on your part to rank it so low. That's just you having fun with numbers.
No, it is. It is. This movie hurt me.
It's not that
It's
bad.
terrible. It's
No,
at
it's not.
0.5.
Can we
It
talk
was-
about how beautifully it's shot?
What?
What are you talking about?
You are officially high.
I'm not.
I want to know what.
high on
Christy
high.
loves cocaine.
I have for a long time.
What did they put in your popcorn and your clarified butter?
All right, well, that was fun. We give it Christy janked it up to a 2.6 as our overall rating.
It's a 41% in the tomato meter.
Oh my God.
If you want to see, there are 2 other sequels opening today that are much better, and we'll get to those in a second. Do not go see this one.
Bye.